This weekend, a new Sam Raimi thriller drops in theaters. It's his first R-rated movie in like 25 years, so let's talk about it. While I'm talking, be sure to join me down below in the comment section. If you've seen, send help. What did you think about it? If you haven't, what's your excitement level? What's your favorite Sam Raimi movie? Now, this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Sam Raimi is kind of a formative director for me. I discovered Army of Darkness in the 90s and became obsessed with the Evil Dead franchise. And then, of course, he went on to direct Spider-Man 2002, which made him, king of the nerds for an entire decade. But I've also said this before, Spider-Man was the first movie I saw in the theater after my dad died. So it was kind of almost like an important return to normal after probably the most tragic and life-changing event in my entire life. So Sam Raimi's one of those directors that, whether his comic book stuff, his horror stuff, I've always been extremely fond of his work, and he's meant a lot to me. So naturally, I was very excited that he had a new film that's an original thriller with a horror flavor to it and a little bit of a bonkers sense of humor. All of that sounded amazing to me. I want more original films. I want more Sam Raimi. Huge win-win-win. Love the two leads of this movie. Though I did go into this film with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because I tried really hard to get to be a part of the press junkets, or at least the virtual press junkets for this movie. Started reaching out months ago, looked very promising, and then it all fell through and I ended up not being able to get to interview any of the people I had hoped to be able to interview for this film. But what did I think about the movie? Let's get started with the review. No reason to beat around the bush. Let's cut right to the chase. And I had an absolute blast with this movie, which makes it even more disappointing that I wasn't able to interview Sam Raimi and the two leads about this film, because I had so much fun with it and there's so much I would have loved to have been able to discuss with them. And the big thing here is that this is the first time in over 15 years that Sam Raimi directed a movie where he wasn't working for Mickey Mouse as a part of some big franchise, which had its kind of constraints and limitations on what he could do. This is him doing an original film and getting to be, released off the chain, go full wild, crazy Sam Raimi. And with our actors, Rachel McAdams gives just the most bonkers performance that she has ever given. Once again, so much fun to see it. I'll talk more about that later on, but I want more original films where directors that have a distinct vision and style are allowed to bring that out and tell unique stories with a unique perspective, flavor to the whole thing, and that's exactly what this is. It's a mid-budget film with two great leads, a great talented director doing something that cuts through all of the noise and feels different. So we'll kind of break all of this down. The basic premise of the movie is that Rachel McAdams is this incredibly talented, intelligent, but also extraordinarily awkward employee at this company who thinks that she's up for a new big, gigantic promotion. The owner of the company recently passed away. His son is taking over, and he's just the smuggest, smarmiest jerk of a boss that all he sees is the awkward in her, and he can't stand her for how weird she is, and therefore is trying to push her aside and get rid of her, and is just horrible to her. Even though they don't, there's not a ton of interactions, but he's just so awful to her and makes her feel utterly worthless in a very short period of time. And then they crash on an island where he has absolutely no skills and is injured. And it turns out one of the things he was making fun of her for is her weird obsession with survival and survival culture, which gives her the exact skill set to survive here and be the boss, where he is now stuck having to be served by her. This is literally the first 15 minutes of the movie. It's the basic setup for the film. And thus, the boss from hell gets the boss from hell, and pure insanity takes place. Here's the biggest compliment I can give this movie. At the halfway point, I had absolutely no idea where this movie was going. up until about the halfway point, you could kind of tell the dynamics of what it was going to be, that she's going to like, find her confidence. She's in her element where she thrives. And so she's the jerk boss. And you're like, but where are we going from here? Like, what are they going to do with their dynamic? How's it going to shift, morph, change? Like, does this have a happy ending? Does it have a tragic ending? Like, I was playing through all the scenarios of they get off, they don't get off, one gets off, one doesn't get off, something else. Like, I was trying to play it. I was like, I had no idea where this movie was going to go, what the twists, the turns, the twists, twisted nature of things, how cruel, how mean would it be, how happy would it be? I just did not know. And there's something so refreshing about watching a movie and being like, I'm not really sure. This thing could go any way. And like, I don't want it to do this, but what would this mean if they did that? And all the way up until kind of the very end of it, I was like continuing to be like, man, where are you going with this? And it got to the end and I was like, all right, I like what we're doing here. You absolutely won me over with all that. And the movie just has like a really great dark sense of humor, whether you're like laughing at awkward Rachel McAdams misreading the room, laughing as the dynamics shift and suddenly this guy realizes, oh crap, she's really dangerous. Oh crap, what's going on? Who am I stuck on this island with? It can be really funny in a real twisted, dark way. And since this movie, for 90% of the runtime, only has 2 actors in it, the whole movie rests on the performances of Rachel McAdams, Dylan O'Brien, being convincing in these 2 parts, and they both just knock it out of the park. So with Rachel McAdams, the difficult part of this role is that you have to believe that all of her coworkers would reject her, but she has to be adorable to the audience. So in the first 10 minutes, you have to establish her as someone very talented, very gifted, but also so unbelievably awkward that she would be off-putting to have to work with her because she just cannot read social clues. She has no social awareness, self-awareness, and so she's constantly stepping over social taboos, which would alienate coworkers, but she has to do it in a way that is charming for the audience, and she's so good at that. And then when we get to the island, you have to buy into the fact that she's unhinged. The longer they're there, the crazier she gets. That social awkwardness kind of converts into this conniving lunatic vibe, but we have to still be rooting for her at the same time. And it's just so fun to see Rachel McAdams, this just unhinged, wild, and having so much fun playing this weird, wild character that you're rooting for while also being like, what are you doing? What is going on here? And the flip side to it, with Dylan O'Brien, you just have to like constantly be teetering on this line of this is the biggest jerk in movie history, but is he learning and growing? Is he changing? Is he like reflecting? And the whole movie's kind of going back and forth on like, where is he actually at? What's he actually doing? And you have to like, it's like this razor thin line of like believing him, not believing him. He's been being manipulative. Like, where exactly is he at? What exactly is he doing right now? And the whole movie's like him on that exact line. And there's so many scenes where you just have to like, he has to like communicate what he's really thinking just with his eyes. And she walks off and he gives a glance. And what does that glance mean? And there's actually, for him, a ton of eye acting in this movie, which I don't know, eye acting, whatever that is. But like, there's a sequence there's parts in it like where he really can't do much other than communicate with his eyes what's going on. And he's so good, like with the restriction of just this. And you can see the shots in the trailer of him like, and he says everything he needs to say with only being able to do this stuff. And it's like, it's just the smarmiest, worst jerk of a boss and do a fantastic job of it, but also just like be on that line. How much is he changing? Is he growing? Is he starting to like her? Is he not? Like, what exactly is he doing here? And he just nails it, just pitch perfect. And then the way they play off of each other throughout the whole movie, it's like a very distinct version of chemistry because it's not like really romantic chemistry. It's not like 2 people that you're like, man, they're so fun together. It's more, they're so fun at odds with each other. As you're watching her at the beginning, misread every social cue. As you watch him being cruel to her and her like breaking in front of him. As you watch the dynamics shift where he still thinks he's the boss, even though he is dependent on her. All these dynamics, and then they're there when they're on the island and they start to have moments where they do start to bond. She's still a weirdo and a lunatic, and he's still a jerk. But being true to those things, but finding the bridge between them, like there's like such great dynamics that aren't the usual dynamics, not the usual path for characters in movies like this. And then, of course, the other star of the movie is Sam Raimi himself, where it's classic Raimi, but like a more mature version of it. It's not full-blown Sliders up to 11, Evil Dead 2 insanity. It's telling kind of, this not, I don't know if mature is the right word for it, but like it has all the Raimi-isms, but like dialed in a little bit more, used intentionally at just the right moments to be able to tell kind of this more mainstream accessible thriller, but still that has that distinct Raimi vibe to it. Like very early on when we're in the office, there's all these Raimi angles, Raimi zoom ins to emphasize how uncomfortable these little things about Rachel McAdams' character are making all the people around her feel. Like it's like very distinct close-ups, like uber close-ups of little things on her cheek or whatever that make people uncomfortable, that highlight that, like, in the zoom in makes the audience uncomfortable, a little bit too icky. And it's a Raimi-ism, but it communicates the discomfort of the room. And as you go into it, there's these bursts of uber gore. There's definitely some Raimi in his eyes. There's Raimi eye stuff, multiple Raimi in his eye stuff in this movie. So you get the uber gore that we haven't gotten from Raimi in forever, because even Drag Me to Hell was only PG-13. So we have the uber Raimi gore we haven't gotten in forever. And it's not like a gore fest of a movie, but when it's violent and it's gore, and you're like, whoa, they went for the, whoa, they just did that. And kind of all throughout the movie, it has all kind of these little Raimi signatures, and maybe certainly more subdued than Raimi of his 20s and 30s, but you're getting classic Raimi in a way that just feels like he's refined it a little bit to fit the movie. And so just like having not gotten this Raimi really since Drag Me to Hell, plus the R rating that kind of goes for it with the gore, the crazy, the bonkers, and it's that mean-spirited nature that you did get in Drag Me to Hell, but it's like a bunch of Raimi that some of us have wanted for a long time, and you get it in this movie. But like also this movie's unlike any of his other films. There's not another Raimi film that's like this, but it's also such a distinctly Raimi film nonetheless. Real quick before I give you my final thoughts, remember to join me down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on Send Help. Also, come back this weekend. I will be doing a Sam Raimi filmography ranking. This is one I've really enjoyed rewatching all of his films. I even got to see Drag Me to Hell in the theater. Took my son to go see it. That was an absolute blast. So this has been one that's been really enjoyable for me to do this deep dive into Raimi's films, and I can't wait to talk about them with you. When you put it all together, this is just a movie like kind of perfectly designed for me, in that I love kind of isolated little thrillers. I love Sam Raimi and his bonkers energy, and you get all the Raimi visual flair here, weird little quirks, idiosyncrasies to everything. The two leads are great. It's got a really dark sense of humor to it. It's got flashes of gore. So just a really solid, like solid movie, period. But like the fact that this January we got Bone Temple and Send Help, this is a surprisingly good January. And if this is setting the stage for the rest of the year of what we're going to get, I'm excited for 2026 movies, but please go see Send Help. We need more original films like this that have a unique, distinct voice and flavor. Please go see it. Overall, I'm gonna go with an A- on the entertainment scale, 8.5 out of 10. And go see this movie in the theater. If you like Sam Raimi, if you like horror, if you like thrillers, go see this movie. Support original films. Go see this movie and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.